Hello, and take two. Welcome to another edition of All or None According to Jack with your host, Jack Toledano. So this is the first episode in the aftermath of SoTFest, otherwise known as Sea of Tranquility Fall Fest 2022. That took place in Poughkeepsie, New York this past Saturday, October 1st. So what we're going to do is this is going to be a recap of, in part, of SOT Fest in pictures. And we're going to utilize my PowerPoint to do so, have a bit of a picture slideshow. So without further ado, let's go to the slideshow. Oops. Before I do that, let's go. Working this out, working this out. There we go. Share. All right. Okay, so slide one, as you can see, is the ticket booth to get into the Chance in Poughkeepsie. This is the poster that Pete Pardo put together for SOT Fall Fest. So you can see on the bill, they had Nectar, which unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond their control, they were unable to perform. So they moved up the card, and instead, Vanilla Fudge was the headliner. Pat Travers' band was there. Epic Tantrum. Sonus Umber was supposed to be there. Unfortunately, they too, due to circumstances beyond their control, more seriously, they were unable to appear. However, Louis Nasser, who was part of in the Prague seat, he still came to Sea of Tranquility Fall Fest, and he instead performed with Rick Labonte and Eric Porter, basically all Sea of Tranquility people, and formed their own trio, and it was did an awesome job on a moment's notice. So kudos to all three members. Also, they had Chris Caffery was there of the of Sabotage and the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Andy Powell of Wishbone Ash. He did a panel with Pete Pardo, our host, as you can see here. And he also played an acoustic number for the audience, which was very cool. So let's move up to the next slide. There we go. Okay, so first we're going to go through some of my pictures and my selfies that I took with several people. So reading from top left, that's myself with Lynn Versace. I had never met her before. First time meeting Lynn in person. Great to get to know Lynn. This guy I've met a few times, Miss King Chris Allo, and I love his T-shirt with Tony Iommi. He said that was a custom T-shirt made for him. Great to see Chris as always. So then this is Rick Labonte and his girlfriend Paula. They actually stayed at the same hotel as me, and it was great, hanging out with Rick and Paula, and we rode to the dinner Friday night together at a place called Shotzi's in Poughkeepsie, right on Main Street, I believe. That was a lot of fun. This is myself with Chris Caffery after he had his panel with Pete Pardo. Of course, myself with the great Martin Popoff. What can I say? Great meeting you, Martin. It was awesome. And last but not least on this slide, and this is why I had to kill the first recording because dummy me, I forgot his name. Sorry about that. This is myself bourboning with Butch Jones. Very cool meeting Butch. I had a good conversation, talked a little baseball and bourbon. What else is new? Okay, so next slide. It was great meeting Charles Alvarez for the first time in person. As you can see, I had my Met shirt on the night before. Uh, Charles was representing the night of with that Met hat that I love, Strangler t-shirt. So Charles and I are avid Met fans. Of course, we were disappointed that the Mets got swept by Atlanta, and now they're in second place and in the wild card. So see what happens from there. So next, this is my first time ever meeting Craig Kaminsky. Craig came from Pennsylvania. Good to meet you, Craig. Uh, this middle picture, this is Louis Nasser, Jim Bocci, and myself. This was very cool. I think this was right before we were going to go on stage for and be introduced for the Hudson Valley Squares. Okay, top right, myself, Louis Nasser, and George Lamy at Shotzi's in Poughkeepsie Friday night. It was fun. So this was Saturday, early Saturday, day of the event. Myself, Rick Labonte, Anthony Ferrara. I basically grabbed Anthony and dragged him downstairs, kicking and screaming, to help bring up Rick's gear. Acoustic guitar. I think he had a mandolin, his amplifier, and whatever else. So that was cool. Lower right, myself, Christian Canzaneri, and Craig Kaminsky again. So cool photos. Okay, so this is myself with some of our faithful, dedicated members and viewers who watch Sea of Tranquility, and some of whom also watch this very show, although not according to Jack. So, top left is Stephen Baumgardner. Great to meet you, Stephen. Very cool. I love taking this photo with you, man. Uh, Bottom right, this is John. I'm sorry, I don't remember his last name or whether he gave it to me or what it was, but very cool to meet you, John. John was on a panel segment with me on Ryan Gavalier's show, so that was very cool. This gentleman, I'm sorry, I don't know his name. I don't remember. It was loud there, and I'm bad with names, but he has a stained glass t-shirt, which I love, both representing our priest shirts. Top right, Kyle Hummel. I went to see Kyle perform a couple weeks ago up in the Albany area, as I now have a second home up in the Albany area. So very cool to meet you a second time in person, Kyle. Next, bottom right is Gary Joyce, another very faithful Sea of Tranquility viewer member, or rather viewer. Love all your comments, Gary. Thank you for your support, as always. So next slide. I got to pay homage to these two gentlemen. So first is Karsten Selberg, who came all the way from Germany to Sea of Tranquility Fall Fest. You are the bomb, Karsten. Good job, man. And then, of course, Scott Pelzel from Brazil, who is a picture with Mr. Pardo. Again, awesome, Scott. Great to see you. Great to see both you and Karsten. Really appreciate you guys coming from other parts of the globe to come and see us. Where's my beer, God damn it? Inside joke. So this is at Shotzi's. Probably put the slide out of order, but whatever. we didn't get there all at the same time, so they had reserved a big table. Pete reserved a big table, so we kind of came in drips and drabs, and I came with Rick and Paula. So trying to get a waiter was like pulling teeth. I think after about the third or fourth attempt to ask for a beer, I think I actually went up to the bar and just freaking got the nice big tankard myself. But felt good going down, I will say that. Okay, so some pictures that I'm not in. So first, here is Jamie Laszlo with Daniel Brown, owner of the warehouse. Daniel graciously invited us there on Sunday for brunch, and it was really good, but we'll talk more about that a little later. Craig, in his infinite wisdom, took a selfie inside the men's toilet at the chance. I think Jamie asked the question, "What's it like to take a shit in there?" And Chris Allo, gotta love Chris. He's like, "I'd rather take a shit in the parking lot." So too funny. So, and then I saw this and I thought of that little conversation. Okay, so this photo you have reading left to right, George Lamy, Eric Porter, Rick Labonte, Charlie Alvarez, Jim Bocci, and Gary Joyce. In this photo, Rick Labonte and Jamie Laszlo. In this photo, for lack of a better term, the Rick Labonte trio featuring Eric Porter and Louis Nasser on bass guitar. Okay, next photo, Eric Porter again, Gary Joyce, and George Lamy. Okay, in this photo, Jamie Laszlo. This one is Craig Kaminsky, Rich Catino. And then, of course, King Chris Allo made the joke about the turlet, and Rick Labonte. Next slide. Bryce Talks Metal made it up from Maryland, I believe, and Ryan Scow. Again, the Rick Labonte trio with Louis Nasser and Eric Porter. Rick Labonte and Martin Popoff. This guy, I'm not sure if his name was Albert or Alfred, but great to meet you. With Bryce Talks Metal. Love this shirt, by the way. I don't know if Priest is on this shirt, but still a great shirt. Okay, the early arrivals at Shotzi's, Mr. Pardo, Louis Nasser, George Lamy. This is a very unique room at the warehouse. I love it. If you're ever in Newburgh, you got to check it out. It's a great place to eat. I did eat there with Pete once before this brunch, Sunday brunch. They have a great selection of burgers and sandwiches and entrees, so you really have to check it out. But in the meantime, I love the deco with all the records on that are on the ceiling. George Lamy, Pete Pardo, Louis Nasser, Jim Bocci. So this photo, Charles Alvarez, Anthony Ferraro, and Kyle Hummel. Okay, so in this series of photos, I took this picture. This is Jamie Laszlo perusing the record section inside the Cracker Barrel. This picture was taken with the intent of putting it up on his Let's Get Physical site and basically kind of poking fun at the high cost of records in general and especially at the Cracker Barrel. I mean, who would have thunk it? Jamie's holding a copy of what looks like Hotel California. I saw a copy of what was it, Fleetwood Mac Rumors for like, what, $26? Damn. Okay, so in this photo, Craig Kaminsky, Stephen Keeler, Pete Pardo, and Rich Gattino. In this one, Pete Pardo, Jamie Laszlo. In this picture, Bryce Talks Metal, Nick Franco, Pete Pardo, and Ryan Scow. Last but not least, you have Martin Popoff, Lynn Versace. Okay, first panel, you had In the Prague Seat. So I'm not going to go through all the members, but as you can see, unfortunately, Charles Alvarez didn't get there in time, so his emoji is there. King Chris Allo is passing the mic around for everybody on stage. So, very good segment. Then, of course, there's the Hudson Valley Squares. I think I got everybody. So, this picture, I'm not going to, read through everybody because I don't know how well you can see it. So hopefully in these pictures, these other pictures, you can see us better. So there's Rob Lasante, see part of Butch, Jim Bocci, Bryce Talks Metal, and then of course there's Nick Franco. Then next to Nick, you have Ryan Scow, Chris Allo, and you have Stephen Keeler in this photo. So you have in the back, you have Jim Bocci and myself, Butch Jones, Lynn Versace, Pete Pardo. Somebody saw this picture up on Facebook and said that I looked like Eric Clapton. So thank you for that compliment. So now I've been told I look like when I was younger, my hair was a little more frizzy, full body. I was told I looked like Jimmy Page. When I first started on Pete's Sea of Tranquility channel, I was told by a few people that I look like Peter Criss. I don't get the reference, but whatever. But it's great to be, put with royalty, so to speak. So I sat right behind Nick Franco and Ryan Scow, and I loved all their patches, so hence the picture of them from behind. I love this little decal of Sea of Tranquility, Hudson Valley Squares, that's put on t-shirts, so I used it for a little illustrative purposes. All right, next. Panel segment. So, of course, Pete with Martin Popoff, then Pete with Chris Caffery. In the night section, Pete with Andy Powell. Sorry, I had to drink. Okay, so great picture here. Pete with Martin Popoff and Andy Powell. This is almost studio quality. And this is in one of the, what do you call it? One of the dressing rooms, mini dressing rooms. Again, Andy Powell, Pat Travers, Pete Pardo, Chris Caffery. Okay, so these is me with some of my good buddies here. Of course, myself with Mr. Pardo. I took this picture because you'll see in another picture, I had to cut him out of the picture because poor guy turned his head as I was trying to take a panoramic, and he looked like the Elephant Man. So we got this one instead. This is taken at the Cracker Barrel. This is Pete and my good friend back in our college days, Kirk Manning. Glad to hear that you're doing well, Kirk. Get well soon, brother. Okay, and then another good friend of Pete and myself, Grant Kicker. Grant showed up a little later in the evening. Very happy to see Grant. Uh, Hope you're doing well as well, Mr. Grant. Very good to see you, buddy. Okay, so then in this picture, this is at Shotzi's. This is Rick, Pete, Martin, and myself. Honored to be in that picture with greatness. Okay, so Rick Labonte with Eric Porter and Louis Nasser. So a couple pictures of them playing together as a band, a couple of individual pictures, but you know, hey guys, excellent job, you know, stepping in at the last minute. I think what they do, they rehearsed for maybe what, an hour or two, ran through about 5 songs to have about a half an hour set. And you know what? Good job, guys. Really good job. I think you were very well received by the crowd. So happy to see you guys perform. Okay, so some of the bands that performed, you know what? There's a lot of pictures floating around, so I'm not going to really, overkill it with a lot of pictures. But so you had Epic Tantrum, Pat Travers. I do have another picture of Pat Travers in the next slide that's better than this one. Of course, this is a nice picture of Vanilla Fudge. Next slide. So these two photos are courtesy of Jim Bocci. Thanks, Jim. Really like this close-up picture of Pat Travers. Another slightly better picture of Vanilla Fudge. Really cool. Glad they didn't have to lug a huge Hammond organ upstairs. That was Nectar's, but instead this is the more modern version of the Hammond. So unfortunately, I missed this set. I was just wiped out, exhausted. So thanks for this picture, Jim. Okay, so last 3 photos. These are some group photos you're going to see. This is a group picture of a whole bunch of us at Shotzi's. Yeah, as you can see, I finally have my beer. And, it was worth the wait. It was very good. Of course, a couple of wiseacres had to make fun of my shirt. Oh, Jack didn't get the memo. It's the only shirt that's not in black. Uh, Jack wore a Met shirt. Well, hey, dude, I have to represent. Mets needed our support, and unfortunately, they didn't take that support. They got swept, but is what it is. I did my part. All right. So a good time was had by all. This is a bunch of us at the next morning at the Cracker Barrel. So Rick, Paula, and I stayed at a hotel right nearby, right next, yeah, practically within walking distance of the Cracker Barrel. Then you see Jamie Laszlo, his wife Grace, Louis Nasser, and George Lemay, and of course Pete's hand, minus his uh, elephant man head. So I'll spare you, Pete. We know what you look like. LOL. Okay, so our very last photo of the slideshow. This is all of us after a great lunch at the warehouse. So again, as I said, if you're in the town of Newburgh, definitely check it out. It is a good place. And it's near the waterfront, which I thought the waterfront of Newburgh was very cool as well. Check that out if you're ever in the area. Very historic. Special thank you to Daniel Brown, who along with Pete Pardo, Daniel's the owner of the warehouse and put this together. It was a great brunch. So thank you so much for that. And that's that. So I am going to end this slideshow. Hello, and welcome back. Don't make fun of me, Pete. God damn it. He knows what he's making fun of. So, in any event, this is Jack Toledano speaking for All or Nada, according to Jack. Um, the plan now is hopefully within the next week or so, I am going to have a second discussion about SOT Fest for those of you who missed it. Uh, and this one, my plan is to have none other than Pete Pardo himself as a guest, just to talk about how it went, what his vibes were, good, bad, indifferent, just to talk about it, see how it went, have a little fun with that. So uh, I think a good time was had by all. And you know what? I will speak to you soon. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button, hitting those like buttons. Keep them coming. I really appreciate you all for that. And again, it was my sincere honor meeting all of our viewers at SOT Fest, because that's what this is all about. So thanks so much, everybody. You have a good one. Jack Toledano. All or not according to Jack. Nanu Nanu.